Please go to slide 2. Everyone's diet is different. I personally enjoy a diet that has a lot of carbohydrates and protein. Some people have diets where they don't eat any animal product or byproduct. And other people only have juiced foods. Go to slide 3. Many of us expect our bodies to break down food for energy. How does this actually work? It's important for us to understand our bodies. How do we make food into energy? And then how do we store that energy? Now, you may be thinking, what is the guy that looks like this know what he's talking about? Well, I'm actually very interested in this topic and actually have spent over a year researching things into this. And I've also have been looking into and will be using information from biology textbooks, dictionaries, and the ISU database. And coming from a family that has a wrestler, I get to talk about the consumption of food a lot and how we actually use that energy. Today, I will be covering how what we eat is made into usable material and where it is stored if not used. So first, what does the body actually do to make the food we eat usable? Please go to slide 4. We start by taking food into our body and the journey begins. Once the food reaches our stomach, it encounters stomach acid and enzymes that break down, rearrange, and rebuild. This is called partial digestion. This means the carbs and fats that we eat become glucose, a type of sugar. Please go to slide 5. Now, if a person does not eat enough carbs or fats, gluconeogenesis is the process of making glucose in the liver. Please go to slide 6. Now that we have attained glucose, we can start the process of glycolysis. In the first step, glycolysis passes through the cell membrane into the chloroplast, where glucose is trapped, destabilized, and cleaved into 2 inconvertible 3-carbon molecules. The second step is where the 3-carbon molecules are then oxidized or literally have oxygen added to make them pyruvate. Please go to slide 7. At the last step of glycolysis, when the pyruvate is made, ATP is produced. Ingested carbohydrates and fats are broken down through the process of oxidation called cellular respiration. Energy released during this reaction is captured by the energy-carrying molecule ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. Slide 8. Although another way to describe this is catabolism. Catabolism is the reaction in which energy is released by breaking apart larger complex molecules into smaller building materials. We can compare this to taking Legos or molecules and breaking them apart, thus giving more of an opportunity or energy to build more. Slide 9. What happens to ATP that is ready to release energy to be used, but is not used? Glucose is stored through the process of glucagon synthesis. Glycogen is a form of glucose that is stored in animal tissues, and especially the muscle and the liver tissue. Glycogen has one less oxygen than glucose, making it able to bond into a chain for storage. Slide 10. These chains build off of each other, creating a web-like material based around a center protein. Slide 11. Let's review what I addressed today. First, I explained how glucose is made from food. Then I defined what happens to the glucose in the cell. Third, I elaborated on how that energy is actually produced. Lastly, I explained how the glucose is stored. So now that we have an understanding of the food we eat goes through an intense process to produce energy, we can understand how to use that energy. Have you ever heard that you have to exercise 20 minutes before burning fat, that is because you're using the ATP that is ready first and then using the stored energy. There are so many amazing things that our body do. I just hope you learned a little more from this presentation.